What's up, everybody? It's Carpo here. I decided to come out and make a video in the bus because it's so beautiful outside, even though I don't get really a full view from here. But as you can see, it's snowing behind me. It's snowing on March 6th. So, hold on. Is it the 7th? Nope, it's the 6th. Thank goodness. My buddy's birthday is on the 7th. For some reason I thought I'd missed a day. So we usually don't get, snow this late, so it's kind of a nice, it's melting, but, it's a nice ambiance. And so this morning the last couple days, I don't know, a little bit more motivated to write some music and get a few things done. I don't know, I try to look for the things that inspire me, But anyhow, for this video I really just wanted to talk a little bit about journalism and what it means to be a journalist these days, and just how ridiculous the media has become. It's like, who do you turn to for actual news? A lot of people will ask that if you doubt one thing or another. There are a lot of folks who will scream fake news at anything that comes their way. I've always wanted, in fact I started a YouTube channel maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. It was a Tom Sawyer News, I believe, and I wanted to make a channel. I didn't do anything with it in the end, but I wanted to make a channel where I could talk about media and news and events, and then I lost interest in it because it's just so boring. It's just today people are interested in one subject and tomorrow, it's on to the next thing. Politics really suck and they're draining and people are always argumentative. But sometime last year, or it might have even been the year before, I printed this out, and this is why I'm making the video. It's just kind of inspired me to make this. It's a press ID badge, and credentialed reporter photographer, and it's got my name, and explains that I'm in good standing with the CFAPA.org, and then on the back it has the First Amendment explanation for officers who don't know any better. I've always been kind of I've been very resistant to authority. In other words, I respect authority only when authority is respectful. So I'm not a protester type person. I'm not a battle with police type person. But I've always wanted to have, if I do come across something that's going on in the world, I would like to be able to report on it. I figure, well, why not, So I printed this out, that way at least I have something that looks somewhat legitimate if I come across, and I just carry it in my little purse. I carry like a little tote box thing with all my stuff in it, because I'm a dude who always has to have a man purse. And carry it around with me, and if something were to happen, I could pin it on the outside and go film, and at least it will maybe help. The thing is, police have been arresting even credentialed reporters that work for actual news organizations. They really don't care, if you're breaking the rules especially, or crossing police barricades, that kind of stuff. But these days, it's, even documenting just police actions have panicked cops because so many people are recording. And so when I was doing a little bit of research into this badge here, I was wondering, well, what good would it actually do me? And I read a bunch of articles and information from reporters, journalists that have been detained or arrested. And I heard a lot of horror stories of people who had their footage confiscated and destroyed. They deleted the pictures off of their cameras and stuff like that. So that whole world is kind of rough. But what I really wanted to say was, there's the news organizations, the news channels that we watch. It's just so sad that there really aren't any good Walter Cronkites out there anymore. Any Dan Rather, or somebody who's out there reporting on scene, and there are a few, but in the past there were really good journalists that would travel out and do, long-term reporting. There's a few guys left that are really good at that, but for the most part it's just, the same repeated nonsense. And here's the funny thing. A lot of folks talk about going to alternative media. And that's kind of why I, what I thought of when I saw that badge. I thought, I'm just a dude with a camera. Just like a lot of these are just dudes with cameras. I'm not understanding the background of a subject properly, or not doing enough research into something. Just being there to document something doesn't mean you're documenting it correctly or really reporting equally from both sides. And these days, there's so much bias in the media, nobody does. And for anybody who's grown up today, that's just the way it's always been. Media is divisive. But it wasn't always that way. It was before 1982. It was Ronald Reagan era when he eliminated the Free Press, Balanced Press Act, basically, which said that you should get equal coverage to both sides and that the press shouldn't be biased. Well, the press and the media and the news conglomerates, they sued the government, the federal government, for breaking free speech laws by not allowing them to say what they want. Because basically they said, well, if I want to be a conservative, I can be a conservative. And if I want to be a Democrat, I can be a Democrat. And people were able to finally have their own opinions on the media, which completely divided, the media into these groups. And now we think that there's like a third group, this alternative media. And there are a few that do a pretty good job. The problem I find is that all of them are reporting on the same things. They're not journalists who are going out and carrying badges or going to places to actually report. A lot of them just sit behind their computer. They look at the Associated Press articles, they look at the CNN articles, they watch the media that they despise, and then they go and report on it with their own twist. To me, that's not journalism. That's not even news. That's speculation. And so when you combine the actual fake news that's out there and the bullshit that we hear, along with the people who are putting their own spin on things to tell you they know what's going on, it makes it really hard to get a balanced view of anything in this world. And people shut down and they start distrusting one another. And that's too bad, So I guess I would urge anybody who, is interested in journalism and has a balanced view to get out there and do those things. There's nothing around my house to really cover. I live in the Portland area. It's pretty quiet, and that's not really my passion to go out and stick a camera in people's face and interview them. It's just not my thing. I mean, unless they've asked to be interviewed, of course. But, I don't know, maybe down the line I'd get into something like that. I guess if anything intense ever happens, maybe I'll, jump in and I'll have the badge and just go in there and pretend like I know what I'm doing. Anyhow, what are your thoughts on news and media? What do you think about, the state of affairs within the media? If anything, if you could leave a comment, who do you trust? And people might ask who I trust. I would say I don't really trust anyone 100%, but Associated Press has 2,000 articles a day. If I go to AP and I look at the headlines, I can see if any bombs dropped. Basically, that's what I would say. If nothing major happened, then whatever. It's probably just a bunch of stupid news about politics. So if it's important, it pertains to my life, then I might look at it. But for the most part, the news can't hide anything is the point. They can't obscure anything. I was talking with someone about this the other day. Years ago we could say, oh, the media doesn't talk about the important stories and that they're hiding the truth. But the truth has come out now. There are billions of cell phones out there, and everybody's recording and posting to various social media groups. Anything that happens is known within seconds. And so that's kind of really changed the whole paradigm. It's pretty amazing. But what it also has done is shown us that the world is not as exciting and secretive as we thought it was. That a majority of the world is just going on as normal, and reporters and news organizations are just desperate to report. If your livelihood depends every day upon reporting something that people will come and watch, then you're going to make the stories as intense as possible. And it wasn't always that way. It was originally about informing us. So, when I was a kid, the idea of 24-hour news channels was ridiculous. But now they're everywhere. People are just obsessed with the news, the news, the news. And I hate to say it, it's the older people get, it seems that the more they're obsessed. Especially elderly people just sit around with fucking news on all day long. And you wonder why they think that the world is chaos, But anyhow, these are my thoughts on news and media. What are yours? Thanks for watching. Talk to y'all later. Have a wonderful day.